already went through the first and the second, so we are considering in the next hour, with the help of the Lord, the third century, as an introductory historical facts, so that we are at the beginning of the century, Edessa, the beginning of the century, became the first Christian state. So Edessa was the first state. Edessa was the first official Christian state. The Christian religion became the Christian state because the twins and the queen were converted to Christianity. Now, Emperor Septimus Severus, was very against the Christians, so persecution came and forbid conversion to Christianity. Was not only against Christianity, but also prohibited any proselytism, so that the Christians evangelized or convert other people to Christianity was also forbidden. After this came a period of peace for the church. And there was a period of growth and spread of faith, and church buildings began at this church century, and we find the first time also building of churches. So we realize that are concentrated a lot of Christian history from the first century. North Africa was a key Christian center, especially all Egypt alone has 1 million Christians. All Egypt alone has 1 million Christians. Carthago and Alexandria were leading centers of Christian theology. Developing with such figures as Origin, developing with Clement of Alexandria. So became a center of theology and intellectuality in the 3rd century. Okay, let us go more in the details now to this historical facts. In year 248 was the 1,000 years of the anniversary of Rome as a city, and that was not celebration with threats to the empire, because many attacks came to the border of the north, border of the Roman Empire, from the neighboring population. So that was also a time of difficulties and conflicts, especially in the North European border of the Roman Empire. So, as we have mentioned, was a period of persecution, especially in year 250 under Decius, was a law proclaimed that everyone must offer pagan sacrifices and show certificates of proof. So the emperor decided that he needed to know exactly who is a Jew, who is a Christian, and so the law was. And so people needed to go to a temple and needed to offer pagan sacrifice. Every person that had done this offered a sacrifice to a pagan idol, no matter which idol, was not defined, but need to be a pagan idol. Then the person received a certification or a credential. This is a very important part. That they are hidden, that they follow the religion of the empire, that they are not Christians, that they are not Jews. Because everyone that don't have it, because this credential automatically, these well-known offenders of the law of the emperor, and this law was in 250. The church needed to deal with the church. They named it lapsed. The lapsed are these people that were Christians, and because of this strong persecution, and because of this, they fall from the faith. After they repent, and they wanted to come back to church, and then was an issue, especially in the 3rd century. What to do with those that came back? What into the church after what in the apostasy during the time of persecution? Now, the problem was not only with the political wall the church had. They had also deal with a lot of with writings that came and assume that they are also inspired like the Gospels. In this time was very important. In this time established the canon. Was a period of time to establish the canon. The Christian leaders of the Christian faith used time to establish a canon. From the Old and the New Testament. Especially because they try to have a distance with Judaism. They say we need to have the Christian canon of the Old Testament, not the canon of the Jews. The canon, because the Old Testament was in existence. Also the New Testament was in existence, but not a clear canon was established. So the 3rd century was an issue. To establish the right canon, to select the books that will be part of the canon also for the New Testament, because a lot of writings came up and become also apocryphal books of the New Testament, and they needed to make a selection. At the same time, also the role of the bishops increased in power, influence, and also importance toward the gospel. And not only the Bishop of Rome, but also the Bishop of Alexandria and the Bishop of Ephesus, as 3 main bishops, came to a very high level of influence, not only in the area where they were in charge, but also in the connection with the administration and the empire. At the same time, developed element to be seen in the 2nd century, but very isolated, and that was the hermit. The hermit was the idea to go alone to a very desolated place and to live alone in order to be isolated from any temptation, and to be completely away from the worldly interests. So at the end of the 3rd century, this movement began to be, but after will become also, but after the monastery system of religion, but was developed in the 3rd century. So let us have a panoramic overview of the history of the persecution, and we will see that the higher level of persecutions were concentrated in the 3rd century. The 1st and the 2nd, the 1st century. I think this last one belongs also. Okay, we see the 1st century and the 2nd century were also always locally not very long in the period of time, in comparison with the 3rd century that we find the persecution of Severus, of Decius, of Valerian, of Vespasian, Aurelian, and Diocletian, we can say that the 3rd century is the century of persecution, and especially the last section of the period, especially the last that we find these 10 prophetical days of persecution. So the period of persecutions were also combined with briefly period also peace that helped Christianity in helped areas to begin the building of churches, because between these periods were also periods of tolerance and periods even of supporting from the side of the administration and the leadership of the political power. That is the reason when in the 3rd century is the first time that we began to find buildings from churches. Remember, please, that in the 2nd century, one of the main problems was the relationship between church and synagogue. And the Christians wanted to make a completely difference between the Jews that go to the synagogue and the Christians that go to church. But they didn't have a temple, they didn't have a church. So that's made even difficult to clarify the position of the church and remain always in this mysterious, illegal organization. But in the 3rd century, we find that they overcome this organization in this way was increasing of stability in Christianity, together with also increase of apostasy, with compromising with the truth. As I have mentioned, this period of time of persecution, have to do also with the problems that the Roman Empire had with other barbaric groups outside of the borders of the barbaric groups. They wanted to have in control the Christians. They wanted to, because they realized, or they thought, that they had a danger inside of the empire, and they wanted to get under control the territories in the empire, because all the attacks came from outside, in the borders of the Roman Empire. Exactly because the empire was so weak, so many internal fights, especially the tension between the west side of the empire and the east side of the empire. We don't have the time to present to you the historical background, but I hope that you can do it in your free time. And if you wish, I can recommend that you different. And if you wish, I can recommend that you different. So, at the same time, we have a parallel between the time of persecution in the synods and the 3rd century. Okay, let me know when you are. So fun. Let me know when you are. So fun. Let me know when you are. So fun. Let me know when you are. You will see that some dates, like the last one, some dates, like the last Galerius from CO3 to 304, they are not exactly the days that they are find in the Rise of Smith between the CO3, they are find in the Rise of Smith between the 313, and this depends on the historical sources. This depends on, you can find always these 2 or 5 years difference, but this depends on the historical sources used. This depends on the historical sources used. This depends. Somebody else needs more time. 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 Somebody else needs more time. Mark, are you done? At the same time, we need to consider, unfortunately, I cannot put the two slides together. Unfortunately, very interesting. If you see the graphic from the persecution together with the graphics in the 3rd century, it's a period also when they become gathered together more. And it's paradoxical, because you can think, but how was possible for them to make such a council, for them to make meetings when the time of persecution was there, especially in the between time was there, and because not in the all areas at the same time, the persecution was so intense, they got the opportunity to gather together. So we have 5 main synods. They receive now the 10th synod. The 5 council synods is gathering of representatives of the churches, and especially because of subjects related with doctrine, subjects of policies, of eternal issues in the church. So in the first half of the 3rd century, as I have mentioned to you, was an issue related to rebaptize those who had been baptized by a heretic. That was one point. For example, if one elder had baptized people, after had baptized people, after had baptized people, then came the question, is the baptism that he had given recognized? Recognized? That was one issue. The second issue was the rebaptism of the heretics. They don't say apostate heretics. They don't say this in the original writings. For those that fall from the truth, and they fall after the persecution finished, they fall different periods in different places of the Roman Empire. So we see that the 3 main synods, this has to do with the rebaptism, has to do the issue about the rebaptism. What to do with those that give baptism, what the baptism those that were also guilty, also in power, and those that denied the power came back, and those that rebaptized can be accepted again. There was a lot of tension in this synod. There was especially the Alexandria school rejected Alexandria. They say if somebody rejects Alexandria, they say and was able to deny and was able to go to the pagan side, to offer to God either the pagan side, to offer and even to denounce the old brothers, they are unwanted. They are be members again. That was a members again. The other tendency was to forgive. And to say, okay, we can receive them again, and they can, we can be members again. And they can. In this second tendency, we are 2 main opinions. Okay, we can receive them again. They agree with this, but they need to have somehow penalties or punishment, because this will be too easy. Okay, they fall, they came back, and nothing happened. They fall, that was one opinion. The other opinion is, okay, they receive them, we forgive them, but they receive them somehow of punishment, so that the other people realize that it's not easy, that the other people realize that deny the truth, and then to say back to heaven, deny the truth, and in this way you take this way the value of the truth. So that was a big problem. So that was, but in the last period, but in the last was the beginning of the problem with exactly in the school of Alexandria, exactly when Arius was the bishop, when he began to introduce these ideas, that Christ is not equal, that Christ is not, that Christ is a created being, that about the angels, but a created being, about the eternity, a created being, not in a specific time, but first, he is not equal with the Father, first, and second, have a created, and second, existed, and also created, second, nature, so cannot be considered in the same level as God himself. So it's a minor God himself. So in the last section of the 3rd century, the power of this heresy was so big, especially because from the school of Alexandria they sent missionaries to the barbarian tribes, So one big part of the barbarian tribes that were converted by the missionaries that came from the Alexandria school, and they teach the anti-Trinity. And therefore we find this also in the prophecy. If you remember, we find this also in the prophecy. Daniel 7. You remember? Daniel 7.
What happened? They were how many horns at the beginning in the head? They were how many horns?
They were 10 horns. And then one of them, one row, bigger than all the other ones.
How many were still?
Bigger than all the other ones.
How many were still?
Exactly. And we know that these were three barbarian tribes. We know that these were three barbarian tribes. We know that these were because the Alexandria school was the one that sent people there outside of the border of Rome to evangelize the border of Christianity, but they converted according to the doctrine of the Alexandria school. So we see that the two main subjects were affected. So we see that the rebaptism of the heretics and the rebaptism related with divinity. And the rebaptism, one in the first section of the third century, the second one in the first section of the third century, the second one period of the third century. And these two main thoughts period of the other century. And these two main thoughts period of the other. Now, at the same time that they suffered persecution, at the same time that they suffered persecution was going through a crisis, because of these different opinions, because situations, the impact of the tradition of the church was very, very big. And let us see some writings, old writings, especially from writings that will explain to us how this happened and what kind of impact this tradition had. Into somebody read it first. How this happened. Into somebody read it first. How this happened.
Let us inquire therefore whether tradition, unless it be written, should not be admitted. Certainly we shall say that ought not to be admitted. In certain cases of other practices which, without any written instrument, we maintain on the ground of tradition alone, and the countenance thereafter of custom affords us an precedent. To deal with this matter briefly, I shall begin with baptism. We are going to enter the water, but the rule before, in the presence of the congregation, and under the hand of the president, who solemnly profess that we must enter with the devil, and which solemnly profess that we must enter with the devil. Hereupon we are thrice immersed, making a somewhat emperor pledge that the Lord has appointed in the gospel. Then when we are taken up as newborn children, we taste first of all a mixture of milk and honey. From that day we refrain from the daily bath for a whole week. We take also in congregations before daybreak, and from the end of night, but the presidents, the sacrament of the Eucharist, as the Lord, the sacrament commanded to be eaten at meal times, and enjoined to be taken by all the alike. As often as the anniversary comes around, we make offerings for the dead as birthday honors. We count fasting or kneeling in worship on the Lord's Day to be unlawful. We rejoice in the same privilege also from Easter to White Sunday. We feel pain should any wine or bread, even though our own be passed upon bread. At every forward step and movement, at every going in and out, we put on our clothes and shoes. When we bathe, we put on our clothes and shoes. When we light the lamps, on couch, on seat, in all the ordinary actions of daily life, we trace upon all the ordinary actions of the sun. If for these and other such rules you insist upon having positive scripture and judgment, you will find none. Tradition will be held forth to you as the originator of them. Custom as your strengthener, and faith as your custom. The reason will support tradition and custom and faith. You will either yourself perceive or learn from someone who has. Meanwhile, you will believe that there is some reason to which submission.
Thank you. It's very impressive. Thank you. These two paragraphs. It's very impressive from Tertullian because somehow these paragraphs summarize how they summarize tradition, how they summarize tradition, how they
It's very clear. Tertullian said, if for this and other such group you insist, if for this and other such reaction, you will find because what you, for example, tell me one of the customs that they introduce, one of the customs here, they introduce, one of the customs here, they introduce, one right. So they find this out for themselves. They know where in the find this out for themselves. Okay. So which are the find this out for themselves. Okay. So which are the find this out? Yes. Okay. Every day to be taken. Every day. This is also a completely human measure, which is a completely human measure, which is a completely human measure, which is a completely human measure.
Offerings for the dead as birthianos. Offerings for the dead as
here we begin to find worship. Here we begin to find the death was the martyrs. The death was what they say they were saints. That died during the persecution of the 2nd century, that died during the persecution of the so they began to make a list, and also in the 2nd century they say they need a veneration. The 2nd century higher level also now. In the 3rd century we find that they even choose specific dates to honor. We find which other things? We find which other things? Correct. So again, we find this connection that came from the 2nd century, the relation between Sabbath and Passover, between Sunday and Easter. Passover, between Sunday and Easter. Passover, between Sunday and That is the Ash Wednesday. Yeah, they began also this custom. Yeah, they began also this custom. In the Catholic countries until now, I know from Spain, you can see the Catholic countries, the Ash Wednesday, the people go out of the church and everything have the mark here. People go out of the church and everything have the mark here. So they began to introduce also this tradition. Okay, they began to introduce. So, not only that they introduce these kind of things, not only that they even say, but you can even anything say, you is not, but this is the importance of the agnosticism. They say that reason will support tradition, that reason and custom and faith will either yourself perceive or learn from tradition, either one who has. Meanwhile, you will believe that there is some reason to which submission is due. So, the insubmission of the agnosticism, the apologists, to the fathers that tried, the leaders of the church, that the fathers during the trials and leaders of tried to present a systematic system of belief. That's what the apologists to defend the faith. They like to structurate the doctrine in such a way that makes sense, that you can use your reason, that you can understand. And again, you find here, especially the school of Alexandria, where the complete, especially the Anglican influence, where the complete, so all the doctrine need to be follow all the doctrine need to be follow all the doctrine is no matter follow if it is supported by the Holy Scriptures or not. If it is supported by the Holy Scriptures, if the reason can explain it, and the tradition can confirm it, that is true. And the tradition can confirm. And you don't understand? Okay, look for somebody to explain. You don't understand? But you need to support somebody. You don't understand? But you need to support. So we see here that in the 3rd century, so we see impact of tradition of the church was very, impact of tradition of the church was. We find a mixture between many pagans. Practices inside of the church. The veneration of the saints was one of the elements that we already mentioned. And also Polycarp mentioned. Also Polycarp, when he was living, also Polycarp 135, but he was about him. Also Polycarp 135, but he was about him. It is neither possible for us ever to forsake. It is neither possible for any other. We worship him indeed, as being the Son of God. However,
as for the martyrs, as disciples and followers of the martyrs, we warmly love them on account of their extraordinary affection toward the So the martyrdom of Polycarp also mentions that the relics of the martyrs were treated as a precious stone. So they keep it valuable objects of the martyrs, or even part of the body, like bones, or ring, or hair, or eye, or layers, or eye, and we know that the church celebrates the martyrs' day. We know that the church celebrates the martyrs' day. We know that and Cyprian also writes, take note of the day on which they separate, so that we may celebrate the day of commemoration among the memorials of the martyrs. There are celebrated here by us oblations and sacrifices for their commemoration. So that was already a fact. The veneration of the saints. Here the bishop says, write down when the martyrs died. Write down this day when the martyrs celebrate it. Write down this. And isn't it interesting that they say, we don't celebrate the dead, we celebrate what? We don't celebrate the dead, we celebrate the birthday. And how do you understand this? That's the introduction. And how do you understand this? That's the introduction. And how do you understand this? What's the birthday of the saints when they died? Why? What's the birthday of the saints because they went in heaven? Why? What's the birthday? This was the birthday when they died. Why? So the death of the human body was the birthday body life. Was the birthday body life is an introductory, very fine explanation, very fine to introduce what after will come as the principle of religion How was the Sabbath situation in the 3rd century? How was the Sabbath? We find different information that help us to understand how it was the situation. For example, in Egypt, where almost 1 million Egyptians were living in this area. In the papyrus of Cyrenius from 250 say, just to the right from Saturday to Saturday, you will see the Father. So, in Egypt, more than 1 million Christians, more than 1 million Christians, but a great majority of the population was Christian. A great majority of the population was Saturday. A great majority keeping what was keeping Sabbath in the 3rd century. In the 3rd century. Also, say Saturday, you have to maintain the also the Saturday work of his creation. Also, is machinery. Work is a day to focus on law, not laziness hands. Here is another perspective also. Here is from the anti-Nicene father. From the so they say okay. From this not they say okay. The Jews they consider that they are but is a day to remember the creation. But is a day also in Africa. Alexander say also in Africa after the festivities, eternally valid sacrifice. After the festivities, the second part is Saturday, and all the righteous among the believers' responsibility all the righteous of the Sabbath belongs therefore to rest. The servants of the Sabbath people of rest. So they still keep the relationship with the Passover and the Sabbath. Relationship with the Passover in Africa. Saturday, the 7th day, was consecrated in Christ. The apostles and every Christian unto Laodicea, in a sense, eliminating the observance of the Sabbath. That was the section related with more the place under the influence of the bishop, the influence and the bishop of Rome. From Palestine to India, around the year 225 was the extensive diocese and association was the Eastern Church, that Holy Sabbath and ranged from Palestine to India. It's interesting that in the Eastern Church, the Sabbath was even longer than in the West. Sabbath was even longer. The west part of the Roman Empire was under the influence. West part of the Roman Empire was, and they ceased to observe the Sabbath early. They ceased that of the church in Sabbath early. They ceased that of the church India. Kush-Hanova dynasty in northern India has convened a council by Sada, important Buddhist priests, unity among them was about preserving the day of rest. Some of them were so influenced by the writing of the Old Testament to justify the start of the Saturday. We know that Thomas, the disciple Thomas, we know that according to the tradition was the one that brought the Christianity to India. The one in the first century we find that Africa, in the first century Asia, we find that Africa, where Asia places where Christians were observed the Sabbath faithfully. In some areas they faithful. In some areas they faithful. Respect for the Sunday as the day of the resurrection, but was clear that the Saturday Sabbath was the day of the Saturday. So in the eastern part of Christianity, Sabbath was more offered and defended as in the western part of the Roman Empire. As in the western part of the Roman Empire. As in the western part of the Roman Empire. As in the western part of the Roman Empire. As in the western part of the Roman Empire. As in the western part of the Roman Empire. As in the western part of the Roman Tell me when you are done. 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 Now, that the Sunday continued to develop parallel to the observance of the Sabbath was a fact. But we are also historical elements and political influence that the pagan sun worship contributed to the development of the pagan sun worship contributed to the development of some of them. We know that sun worship was one of the oldest practices in the Roman religion. One of the oldest from the beginning. So, from the early part of the 2nd century, the cult of Sol and Venus was very influential in Rome and other parts of the empire. And then Emperor himself was regarded and worshipped as a sun god. The emperor himself. It was not only in the West civilization, it was not only in the West in other parts of the world. Now, especially in the West, part of the Roman Empire, we see that the Christians that were converted from paganism tended to cling to the veneration of the sun. In early Christians' art and literature, the image of the sun was often used to represent Christ, using the Bible text that confirms that Jesus is the Son of righteousness. So this was approach. So this was evangelization approach to the hidden. This was evangelization to present a parallel between the Son veneration and Jesus Christ as the Son of righteousness. And it is very interesting this mention. In the earliest no Christian mosaic date to the earliest ascending on the quadrigal child with an nimbus beside his head, with irradiates 7 rays in the form of a kitchen, allusion to the cross. Thousands of hours have been devoted to drawing the sun with an equal are devoted to drawing behind the head of Christ and of other important persons. So that is the first time in 2004. So that is the first they made in 2004 a drawing of Jesus. And behind his head is this aureola. Behind his head, and until now, all the Catholic pictures of saints and of God, you find this aureola. And the origin of this aureola is the sun worship. The origin of this aureola, and that also 7 rays came out of the sun. Also 7 as a symbol. Also 7 as a symbol. Also 7 as a symbol. We find this the first time in 214. We find never before first time this kind of combination never before between a deity and a pagan worship was combined in one pagan worship was combined. But you find this before worship was combined. So in order to agree with the way of thinking of the pagans, at the same time we introduce them to Christ. They find the best way to combine also. They find the best ways to combine also. They find the best ways to combine also. Another very important element is not only another very important element, but also another very important they cease to praise facing Jerusalem. They cease. If you remember Daniel, they discussed. If you remember Daniel, they began to pray facing Jerusalem. Now, instead now to pray facing Jerusalem, they face to pray facing Jerusalem. They face to pray facing Jerusalem. They face and they adopted also the pagan feast of Dies. They adopted also the pagan. That is the birthday of they adopted Sun. And then we find the origin of December 25. And then we find the origin of December 25. And then we find the origin of it for the introduction. The origin of it was not a fact that the origin of it, as we have now, Christmas was even developed afterwards, but the origin of it was in the 3rd century, included to the Christian worship, included to the Christian worship, included to the Christian worship. The historical evidences establish the Sabbath was still kept by many Christians around the Sabbath was in the 2nd century and during the 3rd century also. But the tendency was to depreciate the Sabbath and to exalt the Sunday. They are, as we have mentioned in the past, the same. They are, as we have mentioned. First, the Sabbath fast introduced in Rome in the 2nd century. The Sabbath fast was a depreciation of the Sabbath. The anti-Semitism and also the influence of the pagan religion upon the Christianity. And the combination between the veneration of the sun and the combination between the veneration of the sun in the 3rd century was very point by the Christianity In the late 2nd of early 3rd century origins, in the late 2nd church fathers wrote of the proper time of Sabbath observance. Let us see how they saw Sabbath observance in the 3rd century. The paragraph, the second paragraph. 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 Thank you. This is a very important definition of origin. This is a very important definition of third century. This is a very important because this short definition helps us to understand that this short definition makes a clear difference between a Judaic Sabbath and a Christian Sabbath. Judaic Sabbath, so they are the Christian Sabbath observers, they are the Christian Sabbath observers, and they are not the same. And they are not. And that's what's very important in this period. That's what's very important in this. Now, something else began also in this period of time. Something else was the early iconography. Something else was, as we have mentioned in 250 with this drawing of Jesus with the aureola. In this period of time, we find the early. In this period of time, we find this period of traditional mosaics with great images. Traditional mosaics, and we find different signs. We find sculptures in the sarcophags of the oldest Christians at the beginning of the 3rd century, during the 3rd century, and because they began to build churches, and began also the Christian churches, then we find in the churches and in different detailed mosaics and drawings the influence of the traditional and the early rejection of images, was a fact, but they realized that images was good. They have some images was good in order to evangelize the heathens, because they were evangelize the custom to have an image, to have an illustration, to have a visual image of this, what is explained, a visual image. So they realize that it's not for worship, but it's only for teachable method. But in the 3rd century we find the first with evangelism purposes. We have considered also that in the last section of the 2nd century, the monasticism began. But in the 1st century was an institution already. Institutional Christian monasticism. And this began in the desert of Egypt. And this began in the desert of Egypt. One of the most famous the majority believed that was one of the best was that he was a very wealthy person. He was a very he decided to give all his riches to the poor. He brought his sister, he also a monastery, with females also, and he went to the Egypt desert, and many followed them after. So we find the beginning here of an institutional Christian monastery. And this is spread in the East, very quickly, in the Anti-Asia Minor, and even began like a school. Many followed them, remain with them, many followed them, different, remain with them, communities. The point is that with the time, these communities also established different policies, and then we will see after that this began, we will see after that because they followed the similar idea followed Montanus. That they believe in celibacy, that they believe in martyrdom, they believe in severe fasting. So they follow the same policies, but they developed to a very critical situation. This happened during which the 1st century. The school of Alexandria developed at the Greek fathers. The school of Alexandria developed, we have the Latin fathers, and then we have the Greek fathers. And the Alexandria was distinguished
was distinguished the rationalization of the Christianity, and because they united Greek philosophical tradition with the Christian doctrines, according to the Gnostic way of thinking. And that was well accepted by the heathen, and this includes by the heathen. A lot of heathens joined Christianity. The problem was that they joined with all they joined, and because the agnostics believe that Jesus put the truth in such a way that people are able to understand and to follow according to the reason, develop the iconography. They developed the different ways how to approach the way of the faith. So this was a completely wrong and apostate approach, according to the catechetical school of Alexandria, that was well versed in pagan literature. Now, at the same time, as I have mentioned to you, the Christians because of the persecution at this time, they also chose the borders of the Roman Empire, and they went out of the territorial control of the Roman Empire in order to avoid persecution. And this is the reason why they came also in contact. This is the reason why they came tribes that were living near the Roman border, especially the Goths. The Goths took captives from the Roman citizens, and among them were also Christians. And in this way, the conversion of the Goths to Christianity was an example of this assimilation, a combination between Christianity, with the heathen tradition. And in this way, the Goths were the first tribe that were converted. Also, they went to the barbarian tribes. And some of them were killed by the Christian barbarians, but finally realized that they finally evangelized and realized that approximately in the middle of the 3rd century were also Christians in the Britain, Roman Britain. So the same time of persecution was a time of spreading of Christianity, according to the way of thinking of the Alexandria school, to the way of this means to assimilate the way of this hidden principles, to approach paganism to the Christians. So what we understand with this is that during this century is the full step of the completely apostate. And it was very sad to see how the wish to be recognized, the wish to cease the persecution, the wish to be a church from the empire, bring the leaders of the church to compromise the truth, and even to reject the identification mark of Christianity at this time. But still, true Christians and true followers of Christ were in the 3rd century. We will see that in the 3rd century, we will have different wisdom also after this period of time. So now your homework. So now we have 3 presentations. We have today 3 presentations. Now we have today 2 presentations. We have done the 2nd and the 3rd century. Yes. Okay. Your homework will be the following. You need to read first, second to third chapter of great controversy. Second to third chapter of great controversy is the first. The second thing that you need to do is make a list in chronological order of historical events presented in the first, the second, and the third chapter. In the first, the second, and the third chapter. In the first, the second, and the third chapter. In the first, the second, and the third chapter. In the first, the second, and the third chapter. As it is in the book, yes. As it is in the book. As it is in the book. Yes. And the third thing that you need to do is to relate or establish a relationship between this chronological historical facts with the information that we have presented here, with the development of Christianity during the first, 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 with the development. The last one? Okay. When you have read it, when you have made a list, when you have read it, the third section of your homework is two sections of your homework combine these historical facts that are in the great controversies with the information that we have presented here related with the first, we have presented here related with the first, we have presented here related with the first. Yeah, because the first chapter of the great controversy begins with the destruction of Jerusalem. The great controversy begins with the destruction of Jerusalem. The great controversy begins with the destruction of Jerusalem. The great controversy begins with the destruction of Jerusalem. The great controversy begins with the destruction of Jerusalem. Correct. Correct. Yes. Yes. Correct. Correct. Yes. But not only to say, okay, all this is first century, all this is second. But not only to say, okay, all this is first century. For example, you will see that Sister White explained the reaction of the persecution upon the people who started to get foundation, how because the persecution was not functioning, how then a period of peace came that they combined with the heathens were converted, and also in order to have peace they compromised in order to. And then you need to add with doctrinal points, and then you need to add question this period of compromise. And then you need to add question this period of compromise. And then you need to add question this period of correct. Yes. Correct. Yes. It's clear? Correct. Yes. It's clear? Correct. Any other question? Correct. Any other question? Correct. Any other question? No problem. You are welcome. No problem. So may the Lord help us to understand these periods of time. So may the Lord extremely important to understand how we came to this time. To understand how and that what happened to this time, as Solomon said, and that what happened will be as it is. Solomon said, and that what happened will be because it's nothing new under the sun. Because it's nothing new under the sun. Because it's nothing.